Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're here with a brand new video dedicated to news and theories about Poppy Playtime Chapter 5, and I can assure you right away that what we're going to talk about is very interesting. In this video we'll focus on something very interesting, the playtest version of Chapter 5. We finally have official confirmation that Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 has already entered the playtest phase. This is not a rumor, not speculation, and not a leak, but a direct confirmation from Mob Entertainment. In fact, a member of the Mob Entertainment team wrote a very clear message on Discord that confirms it. This means that the development of Chapter 5 has reached a stage where the game is already being tested and evaluated. And as you can imagine, this opens the door to a lot of very interesting considerations. During the video, I'll show you the official confirmation message, we'll analyze it together, and then we'll make all the necessary reflections. How far development might really be, what the playtest phase implies for the release timeline, and what we can realistically expect from this chapter. Before we dive in, as always, I ask you for a bit of support. If you enjoy the video, leave a like because it helps the channel grow a lot. And subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, so you don't miss any news, theories or updates about Poppy Playtime and other games we cover here on the channel. That said, I think we can start right away, because what has emerged about Chapter 5 is huge. Let's go and take a look together at the official confirmation with the official message. Now let's move on to the next part, because this is where we really get into the concrete details. Now I'm going to show you and explain all the messages step by step so we can clearly understand why this information is so important. Everything starts with a very simple question asked by a user on Discord. This user directly asked Amber whether she had already playtested Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. And Amber said yes. We have to remember that Amber is the official artist and a member of Mob Entertainment. So we're talking about someone who works directly on the game and is part of the development team. This means we are not dealing with speculation, we are not dealing with a random theory or a baseless rumor. With this message, we have an official and direct confirmation that the development of Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 has reached the playtest phase. And this is a huge step forward. It means that a playable version of Chapter 5 already exists, a version specifically created to be tested. We're not talking about concepts, storyboards or ideas on paper, but about something that can actually be launched and played. Of course, it's important to clarify one thing. This playtest version is not public, it's not something we can download or try ourselves. It's a private, internal version reserved exclusively for the Mob Entertainment team, so we, as players, cannot access it. But in this case, the important thing is not being able to play it. The important thing is that the mere existence of a playtest version is already huge news. It means the game is advanced enough to be tested, fixed, balanced, and refined. And in video game development, this is one of the most important stages ever. So yes, even if we can't get our hands on it, this information tells us a lot. It tells us how far development has progressed, it tells us the project is real, concrete, and actively moving forward. And most importantly, it gives us a solid base to make all the considerations we're about to discuss next in the video. Now let's move on to the part dedicated to considerations and reflections. Because this is where we really start reading between the lines and understanding how important this information actually is. The fact that a playtest version already exists is a huge detail. When we talk about a playtest, we're talking about a version of the game that is actually playable, even if it's not complete. This is a fundamental point to clarify. This is not an idea or a theoretical concept, but a real build that can be launched, tested, and analyzed by the team. That said, it's extremely important to make a clarification to avoid misunderstandings. The existence of a playtest version does not automatically mean that development is almost finished. In the video game industry, there are many playtest versions, including intermediate ones. Very often, specific builds are created just to test new mechanics, particular sections of the game, puzzles, or parts of the level design. In some cases, playtest versions even exist at the very beginning of development, simply to check whether certain ideas work. So in general, playtest does not necessarily mean that the game is almost ready. But this is where the context of Chapter 5 comes into play, and this is where the situation changes completely. In the case of Poppy Playtime Chapter 5, we cannot talk about early development, because the overall development of the project has been going on for about 5 years. This is a crucial detail. We are not looking at a chapter that has just started or an idea in its early stages, but at a project that already has years of work behind it. On top of that, Mob Entertainment already started the marketing for Chapter 5 back in October. And this is another very strong signal. Companies do not start marketing a project if it is still extremely far from completion or unstable. Marketing begins when there is already a clear vision, when concrete content exists, and when development has reached a certain level of solidity. And we have also added this detail. Jeffrey Kung, who is the level designer of Poppy Playtime Chapter 5, has been working on this chapter for about 9 months already, as we can see directly from his LinkedIn profile. And this is not a small detail at all. Level design is one of the core phases of development, and if it has been active for this long, it means that the foundations of the game are already well underway. Putting all these elements together, it becomes very difficult to say that we are still at the beginning. So yes, it's true that a playtest version by itself is not enough to say that the game is almost finished. But in the specific context of Chapter 5, this information carries a completely different weight. It suggests that we are probably in a more advanced phase of development, where real content is being tested and key elements of the game are being refined. And starting from these reflections, we can now begin to make even more interesting hypotheses about what really awaits us in Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. Well, now let's move on to another very important thought. The fact that there is already a playtest version and that the development of Chapter 5 is already at an advanced stage is definitely very encouraging news. However, we also need to be clear. We still cannot say that the game has entered its final development phase. We do not have concrete details on how much work is left, how many mechanics are still incomplete, or which elements of the game still need refinement. That being said, we can start making logical assumptions based on the experience of previous chapters. If development is already advanced, it is likely that in the coming weeks we will see much more intense marketing activity from Mob Entertainment. This would not be surprising at all, because in previous chapters, exactly this happened. As soon as the game reached a stable point, the team started releasing more frequent content to build hype and increase fan anticipation. These contents can be really varied. We could expect videos or even official images or in-game screenshots. As already happened last year, Mob Entertainment could decide to share some screenshots directly from the game before Chapter 5 is publicly released. In fact, last year, Mob Entertainment released some screenshots of Chapter 4 before the release. If we look at the current situation, on Steam there are still only the first official screenshots. This means there is still a lot of space for new visual content, updates, which could arrive very soon, especially now that we know the playtest exists and development is at an advanced stage. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. You are amazing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.